A girl with a complex. I had an ex a few years back, who had 3 other boyfriends. Like, 3 other genuine relationships. 3 completely separate lives. She was able to cover it by claiming she had a sleep condition that makes her sleep all the time. There was one day, she had just woken up at 4 in the afternoon. I called her because I was bored. It rang for a few then went to voicemail. I called again in case she left her phone in another room or something, and a guy answers. I ask who it is, and why he has my girlfriend's phone. He tells me that she is his girlfriend, and that they had been dating for 4 months. Her and I had been together for like 7 months or so. He said that I probably have the wrong number, because his girl is loyal and would never cheat on him. I asked if I was calling, insert ex's name. He confirmed it. We decided to meet up in person. We met at a coffee shop, because I wasn't looking to get jumped for him misunderstanding stuff. I started off by asking how they had a full 4-month relationship without me knowing. He tells me she had never even mentioned that I existed, and that he didn't even know she came to this part of town. He pulls her Facebook up to make sure we had the right girl. She had a separate, private Facebook account, with hundreds of friends, that she had used to make him think he was the only one, making him the subject in her relationship status. Just as she did with the Facebook I knew of. That clarified it. I asked how he didn't suspect anything about me. She told him that she had problems with depression and goes long periods of time without talking to anyone, so he would only text her when she texted him. Just like I would, because I thought when she wasn't texting she was sleeping, because she slept so much. I told him my side, and showed him the Facebook I knew of, and the Snap and Insta I knew of. She had separate Insta accounts too. But the Snap account he had was the same one I had. At first, meeting up with this guy kinda hurt. I had loved this girl, and I was just meeting up with the guy she has been cheating with. But eventually we were just pointing out all the flaws we saw in her logic, and kicking ourselves in the ass for being so blind and not seeing it. We decided to make a plan to expose her. We were going to act like we knew nothing, and that he would tell her to come with him to his house, so she can meet his new friend, me. She did, showed up right away. Kinda hurt to see how fast she showed up, but I expected it. He was sitting in the kitchen, that was right next to the door. She walked in, and gave him a kiss. Hey babe, where's your friend? She asked him. I come out of the living room, right next to the kitchen, and say, hey, do I know you from somewhere? She literally froze like a deer in headlights. She stared between the two of us for a few moments, before she announced that she feels sick and needs to leave. We obviously stopped her and made her explain herself. She saltily told us that it isn't any of our business what she does with her life. We both literally broke out laughing. She got frustrated that we were laughing, and stormed into the living room. Neither of us thought much about it, thought maybe she needed to think of how to explain herself. We sat in the kitchen talking about how bullshit she is, making sure she can hear, and occasionally mentioning some fucked up part about our individual sides of the relationship. Out of nowhere, a loud crash is heard from the living room, and she walks back into the kitchen, smirks at the other guy, and flips him off. She just stands in the doorway with a cocky smile on her face. The guy obviously went out to see what had happened. This peep took his PS4, and threw it into his expensive flat-screen TV. Glad we didn't do this at my house. I had a $2,000 PC set at the time. I hear the guy scream with anger, then storm back into the kitchen. She looks at him and literally says, "That will teach you to berate me behind my back." The guy just stares at her. I'm sitting there like, what the F just happened? 'Cause I hadn't moved, I didn't see the broken electronics. There is an awkward silence. The guy was clearly fuming. He told her to explain herself. She said she didn't have to. He said he would call the cops on her for destroying his stuff. This bitch tell him, if he does that, she will tell the police she only did it because we dragged her here and raped her. That caused both of us to laugh at her. She got frustrated and tried to leave, but he blocked the door. He demanded she explain herself before he called the cops. She broke down and told us that she had 2 other boyfriends, and that she had full right to do it because of how oppressed women have been in the past years. We both laughed at her again at this point, because that is the stupidest reason to cheat on 3 different guys who clearly love her. She started ranting about how men are awful because they are all misogynistic pigs, and we are all abusive beep who take what we want, when we want, blah blah blah, normal feminist BS. It was completely out of nowhere. She had never had any opinions on this stuff before this. She even laughed at memes with me about stupid feminists doing stupid things. So the beep literally breaks up with both of us right there, telling us we are disgusting pigs. We were gonna leave her. She just beat us to it. She said she didn't need us because she has 2 other guys, and can get more with the snap of a finger. Through most of her feminist rant we were laughing, because none of it had any solid ground for an argument. She was literally just saying all men were pigs, barely giving any other details besides the fact that we beep and take what we want. Once she stopped ranting, she just dropped to the floor and started crying, begging to let her leave. The guy just opened the door and said with pleasure. She stood up and angrily walked out. Okay, y'all think that's it, she just left and we never talked again. You are definitely right, her and I never spoke again. But I had recorded most of her feminist rant, her ranting about how she has full right to have as many men as she wants because men are pigs and beep. And the guy obviously had a leg up in this because of his broken electronics. He calls the cops and they arrive. We explain exactly what happens. I showed them the video, and they were literally blown away. They said they would look into what they could do, and that he could press charges if he wanted. Obviously he did. The cops left to figure out where she went. The guy and I then went full detective mode, tracked down 2 other Facebooks under her name, all being frequently updated with pictures of her and her boyfriends. We DM'd the other guys, and explained ourselves, linking them the Facebooks that she used with us, and the Instas she used with us. We apologized to them that they had to find out that way. They said they were also going to leave her, and that they were grateful we exposed her before they felt too far in love. We told them to keep an eye on her Facebook pages, because we were about to tag her in something. I went on every single Facebook of hers I could find, and posted the video of her rant, tagging her, and the guys she was dating. Within minutes I had so many texts from her demanding that I take it down before her boyfriends find out. I obviously ignored it, and blocked her. The rant she made got a F-ton of popularity, and eventually she was shunned from our area, and had to move to a completely different state, leaving everything she had built up behind. The posts also got a ton of reports, so my Facebook got banned. I was a little salty. The guy and I barely talk anymore. But I did hear that she bought him a new TV, and a new PS4. The idiot knew nothing about games, so she bought him the newer, more expensive one. I'd quit it's called I'm not a console pleb. She had charges pressed, then I guess, she tried the same rant with the cops. I'm not sure how that went, obviously I wasn't there. We wouldn't have done any of that if she hadn't smashed his PlayStation, or even if she hadn't ranted. Best of all, none of this would have happened to her if she had just stayed faithful. Stupid beep.